Hello, Internet. Welcome to the first ever episode of The Insight Hour. I'm Rich.
I'm Daniel. How's it going, everyone?
You know, just for you guys, Dan and I personally invested in this $18 billion AI assistant. Her name's Shaniqua, at least this week.
Yeah, and then today we'll have her introduce her first article.
Shaniqua, take it away.
A teacher at Antioch High School in Tennessee was recently pepper sprayed by a student after confiscating the student's phone. The incident was captured on video and quickly went viral, amassing millions of views on Reddit. This isn't the first time the teacher has faced violence in the classroom. Just 2 months ago, the teacher was assaulted in a separate incident. Both cases were reported to the police, and disciplinary action was taken by the school district. In response to the pepper spray incident, the school district released a statement confirming that the student received appropriate disciplinary consequences. The teacher, on the other hand, received medical assistance from the school nurse.
Who attacks a teacher with pepper spray? First of all, who brings pepper spray? Okay, I know who brings pepper spray to school. I get it, but who would attack a teacher for taking their phone away? What the heck?
Yeah, like we want kids to be safe in school now, right? People are getting shot, let's be real. So like what level of like freedom or like freedom of protection are we gonna start allowing teenagers now? Like is a knife allowed?
No. Okay, so
uh
to be fair,
is
pepper spray is a non-lethal weapon, right? So in that guideline, what are some non-lethal weapons that we are allowing people to bring, or we should allow people to bring because
okay.
because a non-lethal is technically a taser, it's a baton, and then obviously the pepper spray. And so I guess my question is like, how far is too far with weapons? Because when we were in high school, we were not allowed to bring any weapons at all. Like,
Yeah.
it was ground for
Nothing.
either
Suspension
or expulsion.
Expulsion. Yeah, like no
Yeah,
no
there
nothing.
was like no nonsense kind of deal, right? So this person
It's kind of like
brought pepper spray.
expected.
It was obviously hanging either on their backpack or keychain, and they just whipped it out, sprayed the teacher. Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, no, the other thing is like it was over confiscating a cell phone. That seems like
Seems like a very reasonable thing to do if the student wasn't, if the attention of the student was not on the teacher who's trying to teach them something. He has the right and the authority within his school grounds to take the cell phone away.
Yeah, no, guys, let's get this straight. Confiscating your cell phone is not a new thing.
There are rules that you have to follow within certain areas.
But see, like this is like where you get dangerous with arming teachers, though, because the students are acting like this. Oh, like I guarantee you, somebody's getting shot by a teacher. That's not one of those ifs. That's one of those whens. That's gonna happen.
Well, okay.
Teacher gets pepper sprayed out of nowhere, or teacher sees student going to move aggressively.
I mean, okay.
It's just one of those bang bang moments.
But Shaniqua had just said like this teacher was attacked prior about 2 months ago, so obviously this person is being targeted by students.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing, dude. That's not. I don't know.
Like
that's not
both
cool,
situations.
man. Don't target your teachers, guys. Like what are you doing?
Man, like both situations were like reported to the police. There were disciplinary actions taking place by the school for these two students who pretty much targeted the teacher. So at this point, the teacher is kind of like afraid of kids because of like these two situations that just are.
What are disciplinary actions? Were we able to find that?
Unfortunately not, because they are underage. So a lot of the rules around that is like that information is not released.
I don't know. I feel like this is grounds for expulsion. Like this is assault.
And if they were
Like
they were a legal adult, like 18 and up, they would have been put in jail or actually detained for assault. But since they're underage,
no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that they were detained still, right?
I mean, they were detained by the school. I don't know about police. The incidents were given to the police for them to do whatever they can do with it, but I don't know about anything else.
If anyone out there in the chat, go ahead and if you know or can find out, like link it to us.
And we could do a follow up video on this.
I don't think this is getting a lot of traction, and I feel like this should get out there because as much as we need to be protecting students from each other, it sounds like we also very clearly need to be protecting the teachers
You're right.
too. Again, I'm not really
You're not up for
saying
arming teachers.
I don't. Yeah, because that's just bad news bears, in my opinion, at least. But we got to protect these people because
Okay, what about
man, I don't want to feel like you're a high school teachers are that's a passion job, guys. Like I hate to tell you this, but like teenage years suck, dude. I was one. I was a dick. Like you're tormenting this person. I thought I was original, and then like growing up, you realize that
you're not original?
you're not original. Yeah, you're not inventing any
Yeah.
wheel here. You're just the dude that got on the wheel after the last jackass left the wheel. Like, don't pepper spray your teachers. How is that the bar?
You're not about arming teachers. And I can understand
No.
that. But what if they had a designated gun lock that they had access to in their either their classroom or on campus so they can respond quicker?
Isn't that what like safety, like the safety officers are supposed to be?
But
there
what if the
for?
school doesn't have the resource for the safety officer?
That's fair, and it's usually the underprivileged ones
Yeah.
that don't have those kind of.
Yeah. So like
abilities,
let's say
which
for
is- which
instance like
is-
an incident happens at a school and then they have pretty much a gun case where they have either like a biometric scanner for their fingerprint or like a code they could push in,
Mhm.
and then that will give them access to the gun rather than just have it concealed carry on their bodies at all times.
I don't think it's the access to the gun that bothers me more. I think it's the lack of experience, and I understand that they're going to say stuff like, "Oh, they'll be put through training to, help identify who's going to be the shooter and this and that." But then I have to look at examples like the police who apparently get it wrong all the time, and they're supposed to be our best trained for it. Now we expect them to become like expert, not even just like expert marksmen, but like experts at identifying what's a real threat, what's not a real threat, what's just a student reaching in their backpack for a calculator versus a
Okay,
gun.
well that's hence the gun that's locked up, because yes, it's gonna take like a couple extra seconds to get it unlocked. But like, let's say for instance, the kid is reaching to the backpack for a calculator, and like the teacher might perceive it as a threat, but then they see a calculator, but they don't have a gun on them already. So they have to take that 2 seconds to turn around to unlock the gun case to actually pull it out to defend their kids and classroom and themselves.
Okay, so here's me now arguing against my own argument, like and so, kind of supporting. Well, actually,
Like,
okay, so if we do give them the guns,
Yeah.
let's say we give them the guns in that scenario, didn't we just give them like the shooter's gonna know that,
well, the shooters,
and if it is a gun, they just need to be fast enough to hit the teacher before they get the lock at this now.
yeah, no, that's
You know what I'm
true.
saying?
But the gun
Like-
will that gun that is in the case will still not be accessible by them. I mean, like, okay, so a safe doesn't
Yeah,
really
but
stop people.
they brought
Yeah,
their
a safe
yeah.
doesn't really stop people from opening it. It
They-
just slows them down.
No, except well, I mean the little psychopath has already brought his own
Yeah, exactly.
his own weaponry to the you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's I don't know, man. It's
But arming teachers is also a voluntary process.
why is this the conversation we have to have then? Like, is it a gun problem that we're dealing with? Is it a student problem? Because at the end of the day, like just letting some hormonal teenagers kind of have access to guns shouldn't be allowed. Just period.
So
right?
yeah, for that, like obviously kids, they're be able to own a gun, you have to be at least 18 in certain areas, and then I think in California you have to be 21 to own a gun now.
I agree more with at least
Yeah.
21-year-olds
They're a
having
little
it.
more developed.
I mean,
a little more developed.
A little more developed. Actually, maybe I should retract that statement. I don't know if we should be giving a bunch of hormonal, freshly drunk people guns either. Let's put it this way: you have to be 25 to rent a car.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that seems like a pretty good standard. If you need to be 25 for us to even loan you this car, which is technically a potential deadly weapon, I think it's fair that the thing that's explicitly meant to be a deadly weapon to be purchased on your own 25. Sure, we can do some kind of like the Boy Scouts. You know what I mean? There could be some kind of training below hand. You can be certified to be able to shoot at ranges. With your your dad or something like that. Like my dad, he ran my little brother's Cub Scout things or Eagle Scout things. So I've been out to the shooting range and all that kind of stuff with them. You can do that while you're underage. Maybe some kind of learner's license or something like that, so you can go hunting if that's your thing. Like
Yeah.
you're allowed to be hunting with an expert or somebody of age,
Well-
but you can't personally own one till you're 25. I don't know
so
if
the
that's
crazy thing is,
that too much.
I feel like there is an age, there's like essentially an age gate for guns, right? Because they're not cheap. Like
Mm.
the cheapest guns
No.
like maybe $200, and then like the more nicer
Mhm.
ones are gonna be like around 6, 7, almost like $1,000, right?
Man, you guys like some expensive deadly Legos,
And
I
like,
tell you.
and then that's just the price for the gun, and then there's the price for the ammo. And ever since 2020, the price of ammo has just gone up consistently. And like during the pandemic and like a year or two afterwards, it was very hard to find ammo, so that was always expensive. So at that point, you're already priced out. Like you're buying, like, let's say you buy a $600 gun, you're not accounting for like another $400, $500 for ammo and any other accessories you might need for the gun, like more magazines or like a sight or whatever, like whatever it is you want for your gun. So at that point, you're pretty much priced out of a lot of things. So not only are they able to buy a gun, but they had to have money behind them to actually buy something like that. Just go used and just to go like train with or like go to the shooting range, because it does cost a lot of money to just go do all that.
That's fair. Like it rightfully so. Should be an expensive hobby.
And it is
As
an
is.
expensive hobby. Like I own a few firearms and I use it, and like yeah, I can say from experience, like it is expensive.
Okay, that's fair. Well, anyways, let's bring this back to the teenagers and what we should
Yeah.
allow them to bring as protection. Pepper spray. I want to say yes, but like it. Yes, you can have pepper spray, but if you use it to mace your teacher, your ass is facing some big person punishment.
Yeah, because pepper spray is assault.
Especially over something as stupid as them confiscating.
Yeah,
your
because
cell phone.
like you're using a weapon you're supposed to be using the pepper spray to save your life or to run away or to get away from danger. But in this instant, they're using it for revenge on a phone. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make
Because
any
like once
sense
you use that
whatsoever.
pepper spray a
Like,
couple
it's-
of times, it's done.
That's childish, guys. Don't do
mean,
that. Don't.
They were a
I
child.
I don't have to tell you guys not to do that. You're here at the Inside Hour. You're obviously smart enough to not be pepper
Your
spraying
teachers.
your teachers.
It's like,
So,
what's next? Are you gonna pepper spray your
thumbs
parents
up.
because you got mad at them? Like, what the hell? You're gonna pepper spray the mailman next because he didn't give your package on time? Like, no,
I'm gonna pepper spray the mail.
that's insanity, dude.
That's. I think we're gonna wrap up that first story there. That's a good first ground. Let's go ahead and move on to
Yeah, we do
segment
have
two.
a second story. Pretty big one.
We do. Shaniqua,
Play it for us.
do you mind taking it away?
A mass shooting occurred at an outlet mall in Allen, Texas, resulting in at least 8 deaths and 7 injuries. The victims ranged from 5 to 61 years old. The gunman, identified as 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia, was killed by police. Garcia was dressed in tactical gear and armed with an AR-15 style rifle and other weapons. He had previously worked as a security guard and had firearms training. Authorities are investigating potential right-wing extremist ties, as the shooter had an insignia on his clothing reading RWDS and an extensive social media presence with neo-Nazi and white supremacist-related posts. The Texas Department of Public Safety is leading the investigation, with more information expected from Texas officials.
All right. Well, thanks, Shaniqua. So this one I think is obviously the big one. Mass shooting again. At this point, I don't know exactly what I feel about these things, because I feel like we're being desensitized.
Yeah,
to
mass
this.
shootings are definitely like nobody wants them. Obviously, like, anyone from any side of the aisle will say, "I don't want mass shootings in this country."
I mean, yeah, we shouldn't. We shouldn't
Yeah,
want
exactly.
them. But what do? We know there are other countries that have more guns per capita than us.
Like, yeah, we know
And more
the U.S. has more guns than people. I think there's like over 350 million
Yes.
guns.
We're the United States of arms at
Yeah.
this point. But Yeah, man. The whole. I think we might need to wait to hear what more they have to say
Yeah,
about this
so
one
like
on the whole white
yeah, so like
supremacist front.
if it is true, if it is true that he is a white supremacist, it is insane because he is of Latino descent. His name is Mauricio Garcia.
Well, I mean, this should just go to show everybody, like left or right, like racist comes in all shapes and forms, guys, or bigotry, if you want to get technical, comes in all shapes and
Yeah.
forms. I don't know what I could say more that we haven't had to say over and over again, like this. Oh no, a good guy in this case actually
Oh yeah,
came
that's
through.
right. The
Like right, the cop did his job
yeah,
this time.
was
He was, even though he was alone.
he was alone. Yep.
The man
He,
the man ran in by himself, which he is supposed to do,
yeah.
and managed to take down this
Yeah.
gunman before he caused
I think
more
the
death.
police officer was there on a different call, or he was just there off, like probably on a lunch break or something like that, and he just happened to be there at the right time to put a stop to this guy, and which is a great thing because he had inadvertently saved probably more lives because this guy did the shooter did have a lot of more weapons on him.
So yeah, like I will give the police credit where credit is due. Good job, you did things the way you were supposed to. I
Give him a
congratulate you.
POB.
You did your job. It's the bar. I understand. Police, their job is scary. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do it. I can't run in somewhere knowing somebody's shooting and try to save them. I'm not gonna say that, oh, I could do it. But I'm gonna say if you can't do it or not willing to do it, you should not be in that job.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason whatsoever that you should be in that job.
Yeah. So I mean, back to this
Hot
guy.
take.
This guy, it is factual that he was in the military for like a couple months or whatever it was, but he was discharged for mental and some physical illnesses that he had. So I mean, there's strike
Okay.
one, right? Because
So we know that he's got some mental illness. And how did he end up with the gun? It was purchased legally
it's
or
actually
illegally?
it was purchased legally. I'm speculating here. So he probably got his mental illness record expunged or whatever, and so he didn't have that record on his file anymore. So now he was able to legally buy a gun because he was working as a armed security guard, and then you obviously have to pass a background check to be an armed security guard.
Well, I mean, background check is different than a mental like health or mental capacity.
Yeah, but
check.
if you, as far as I'm aware, if you were ever institutionalized, you're barred from buying a gun.
he wasn't institutionalized.
He
right?
was just discharged.
He was just kicked out of the he was just kicked
Yeah,
out
so
of the
that
military.
that
That's
actually
all.
makes sense now.
It sounds like the problem is if everybody followed the rules supposedly in this scenario, then it's the rules that are broken. Is it? Does that make sense? Something's wrong with those, then,
Something's-
right?
I don't know if the rules were broken because no rules were broken except obviously for the
If
crime.
no rules, well, I mean, if he was discharged from the military with a knowing mental, like, do we not have rules against
We
that
do
yet?
have rules against mental people, mental
I'm an
mental
idiot, so I don't
illnesses
know.
for buying firearms, but I don't know if the military does like record things and puts it on their permanent file or anything like that. Because like I think this has happened before where the military had kicked someone out for a mental illness or something like that, and they went out and did shooting.
So yeah, I think it sounds like we just need more extensive mental back.
Yeah,
background
there's such a
checks.
big stigma in America
Can we all agree on
for
that?
mental health, like mental healthness, health awareness. Like, yeah, we have a month for mental health awareness, right? And we have people like heralding mental awareness and all that stuff.
Yeah, don't shame.
Yeah, all that stuff.
You know,
but like,
don't shame
I feel like
people with
behind
mental
closed
health, all
doors,
that
we do
stuff,
we still do that.
Oh no, 100%. We are still shame. Y'all know here what's broken in my brain That's why I'm able to sit here in front of a computer. But you know, but it's not something we go around and brag about.
Yeah.
Still,
Like,
thanks. People appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm sure anyone else that has something going on up there very much appreciates it. Makes us feel good that people are at least trying. Is it gonna change the way I proceed? No, man. No.
no, it's all right.
No. Not yet, at least. We'll get there. We'll get there. I do, my best wishes, prayers, all the things that you're supposed to say that aren't enough to the
Yeah.
families that lost members here. And I hope we can get this right, man, because I want to say it was COVID that drove us nuts, but this wasn't.
I don't think it was COVID.
This
I think we
wasn't.
were just already nuts.
Man, like borderline when COVID was ending, my whole thing was just like, are you guys sure you want this to go back to pre-COVID times? I think we were locked up for so long we forgot what that was.
Yeah.
Like that was a school shooting every week. Like that. I mean, here we are. Only this time around, we have hyperinflation on top of the school shootings. I don't want to get my hopes down, but let's smile. You know what? Let's smile. Smile, everyone. I have faith in you all. And that about wraps it up for our first episode of the Inside Hour. We really appreciate you being here joining us, and we definitely want to hear what you have to say about it. So make sure you leave all that stuff in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.